All right, welcome everybody. So we are looking to go further with Google Classroom. You may have Google Classroom set up in your classroom, but you may wonder, what now? What great ways of learning can I introduce my students to? And so that is, we're going to look at 10 specific things you can now do with that Google Classroom. As I mentioned, there was a short URL to access that if you wish to access these slides, but I will be posting some links down here as well. So we're going to look at several features that integrate additional Google Docs. Please note this. Here are those 10 things we're going to look at. Sometimes these particular things could almost deserve a session of their own. And so what you will find is, for example, the literacy features in Google Docs, for example, that's going to be number 2. I'm going to do a whole session on that later this week. So if you have that Google Doc in the text chat link just above that shows all our sessions this week, you'll see several of these. Several of these are going to be sessions on their own later this week to give them the full time. So while you may not become a full expert today in this session on all 10 of these things, my hope is that you will start to see and understand what is possible, just kind of opening the door to what is possible, and that you will learn some things today. So be patient with yourself, and to get through this in an hour, I'll try not to go too quick, but at the same time, I want to just kind of give you that 30,000-foot view on several of these different things. And if you'd like to go deeper, while you may certainly learn some of that today, you can also come back for future sessions that will focus on individual practices here. I have a link on slide 3 in this slide presentation. Why don't I just share that with you once again, this presentation, if you wish to have that digital takeaway or follow along with those slides. There is a sort of a PDF version that I created when I was in Edmonton Catholic before I came to Alberta Teachers Association that talked about all these 10 things and went into some detail. So if you prefer a PDF version of this, you're welcome to have that as well. All right, let's dive right in, everybody. So let's talk about number 1, sharing resources with students. This is a quick and easy way to use Google Classroom. I'm just going to open up Google Classroom, classroom.google.com. And I will hop in one of these Google Classrooms. And a quick and easy way to share stuff with students. If you don't really need it to be organized, perhaps it's an announcement of something. This stream right here, you can just pop right into this stream and post a message, add a file, hit post, and it is shared with your students in this stream. Alternatively, you can go into the classwork section and you can organize that Google Classroom. As you've seen here, there are several different, they call these topics in Google Classroom. And different people are organizing these Google Classrooms with different types of topics. Some who are homeroom, this is a more of an upper elementary example. Homeroom teacher might have different subject areas. Other teachers might have different units or different types of work. Maybe there's a homework section, maybe there's a self-paced learning section, maybe there's a quizzes section. I've heard of people who are doing topics based on days of the week. So it's really, some are doing it on different units they're covering. If you've got a whole Google Classroom for your grade 7 science class, you can just do it by unit. So it's really up to you what you label those topics, but it is a handy way. And once you've got stuff in this classwork section, you can drag and drop and move it all around as you need to. So it's a really handy way. But creating and sharing materials, what I would suggest, and I mentioned this for anybody who had joined in the getting started with Google Classroom section, one of the main things that people are posting in their Google Classroom is a material and an assignment. So material is a one-way push of content. It's a YouTube video. It's a file you want them to look at only. It is a website you want them to go to, okay? Create it as a material, all right? The assignment piece is when you want something back from students. Okay, we'll get to that one in a bit. But let's imagine I want to share a YouTube video with students on, let's see, what could we make it on? About electric circuits for kids. I'm going to do a Google search or YouTube search. And let's talk about series in parallel. Let's say I watch this video and I really like it. I want to share it on my Google Classroom. I can copy. You will look to your own school division in terms of your policies related to YouTube sharing. Some of your divisions have blocked it, some have not. So for the person who asked that question, it's really going to depend on your school division. So I'm just giving this as an example. So let's say I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom, in the classwork section, create material. And in this case, I'll say electric circuits video. I would give a description in there. I don't have time to do that right now, but let's imagine I did. And then I'll go to this add button. In this case, I could either do it as a link or YouTube. So when I go into the YouTube piece here, they even have a YouTube search in here. So you can search. However, I do recommend that you watch these videos in their entirety before you share. In this case, I have a URL, so I'm just going to click on that and I'm going to paste it. Control V. There it is. I hit add. Wonderful. It even gives a lovely little thumbnail image. All right. Do I want it to be on a topic? Maybe. Probably my science. Or if I hadn't created a topic yet, I could even choose create a topic and do that on the fly as I create material. So that's super handy. Most likely you're going to make this go just to your one Google Classroom. But alternatively, if you had multiple Google Classrooms, you wanted to share the same file or YouTube or whatever material it is, in multiple Google Classrooms, you can do that. As well, by default, it's going to select all your students. But if you had 30 students in here and you wanted this material to go to 28 students, and you wanted a slightly modified version to go to the other two, you could uncheck the part that says all students, and then just select or uncheck the students that you don't want it to go to, and it will just go to those other students. You could do another material post just to those other two students. Does that make sense? And you do that through this all students. By default, it's going to go to the one Google Classroom, all the students in there. Choose a topic. Now, do you want to post it right now? Or as soon as you do, students can see it. Maybe you do. But I love this schedule feature in here that can tell you exactly what date, right down to the minute, that this thing will show up on your Google Classroom. Let's say I want it to show up tomorrow at, let's go 1:00 p.m. All right, schedule. And it's down there. I can see this as a teacher. It's kind of grayed out, but I can see it. The students cannot see it. They won't see anything until 1:00 tomorrow. So that's one way to share those materials. And so that is a very quick way, whether it's a website. While I have you here, why don't I show you the Alberta Teachers Association library. library.teachers.ab.ca. Does everybody remember the tolearn.ca days? Well, ToLearn, unfortunately, is no more. However, they partnered with ATA in their final year of operation and shared with us all their database of websites. So if you wish to find those ToLearn websites, hit that link or type in library.teachers.ab.ca. Go to the subject guides, the topic guides, or the seasonal guides. There are lots of other guides in here, but the ToLearn ones are the subject, topic, seasonal. Go into subject guides, for example, and you can pick something English. Let's say I choose science, grades 7 to 9. I can even choose right down to the topic area in each grade, heat and temperature in grade 7, let's say, and there are a whole bunch of great websites in there. Once I open them up, I can then copy that link and Control-C to copy it. And in my Google Classroom, create that material and give it a name, heat and temperature. Now this time I'm going to add it as a what? A link, right? And I'll just paste that link in there, Control V. I guess that is not exactly heat and temperature. So call it what you want, put it under a topic. Don't forget, I always seem to forget that. You know what? Let's imagine that I forget and I don't put it under a topic. And I hit post. A really nice part about this class, look at it, it's not under a, oh darn it, it's not under science. Well, remember, you can drag and drop anything you want in your Google Classroom classwork section. And that means even rearranging, moving up or down, you can drag entire sections if I want science before math, for example. Let's see. Can you schedule for multiple classes? Well, let's find out. So let's say I schedule a material and I want to, let's say it's a YouTube video. Can I, let's see when I select multiple classes. Can I still, 2 classes, can I still hit that and go schedule? Look at that, you cannot. So you can just schedule posts for 1 Google Classroom at a time, it appears. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Annalise. So it looks like if you're posting to multiple classrooms at once, you can't schedule it. But if you're just doing it for 1 class, you can schedule it. Now, somebody said, what is that reuse post? This is one of the best things in Google Classroom. If you have already used a post before, maybe it's in a different Google Classroom, maybe it was last semester, you put a lot of work into creating an assignment. By choosing reuse post, you can go to any other Google Classroom that post was in, and you can pick that post, whether it was a material, an assignment, whatever it would be, and pick which thing it was, click reuse. It'll pop in here into your Google Classroom that you're currently in draft format. You can make your adjustments to whatever you want, due date, point value, all of that, and assign or schedule that. So it's a really handy thing. That is a reuse post. So in terms, and for the person, for Miranda who says the reused post, would that work if you wanted to repost it in a different Google Classroom? Yes, absolutely. If you put your work into posting it, scheduling it for a certain time in 1 class, you can reuse post to post it in another class. Also, if you've done those modified activities where everybody in your class except 3 students get this particular assignment, you can post it for everybody except those 3, hit reuse post, make the modifications you want to that, and only assign it to those other 3 students. Does that make sense? So take advantage of that reuse post feature to save yourself a bit of work from starting from scratch. All right. So that is posting stuff on your Google Classroom. Literacy. Every day. I love the fact that in Google Classroom and with these Google tools such as Google Docs, we can get kids writing all the time. It's a wonderful way to have kids capture their ideas, content literacy across any subject or language arts. So if you're in these slides, go to slide 9 and click on sample Google Doc. But what I'll do, I'll copy this link. This is a sample Google Doc. If you'd like to try this, you'd like to try it at home, I put it in the text chat. This is a link that will force you to make your own copy, right? So if you want to try this with me, you're welcome to. If you are just trying this, just watching, that's totally fine too. And so you'll have your own copy of this. I just want to show you some of the built-in literacy features in Google Docs. So one of the features that may be useful for some kids is the voice typing. So it's under tool. I'm going to this little blank space here after number 2 in my sample Google Docs. Am I going too fast? I do want to try to get through as many of these different techniques as possible. Remember, I'm doing another whole session on literacy features with Google Docs for a whole hour in a couple of days, if you have that time. So under the tools menu, voice typing, Okay, so tools menu, voice typing, it'll be a little microphone, and this will let the user, as long as there's a microphone attached to that device. If they have a laptop, there is a microphone in that laptop. It's right by the webcam. It's a little pinhole. If you're on a laptop right now, that's where your microphone is, unless you're wearing a headset or have a different type of microphone attached. There is a microphone on every laptop. It's just that little pinhole. Same thing with Chromebooks. And that's where the mic is. Anyways, they can activate this mic, and I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to say, this is the voice typing feature in Google Docs, period. New line. It works very well, and you don't have to train this software, exclamation mark, new paragraph. Hit it again to stop it, and voila. It is not perfect. You have to tell it about the different, different punctuation, for example. And so they may have to go in and clean it up. But if it's a way of getting their ideas down digitally in there to then work with and add capital letters and those types of things, they can do that. And guess what? This thing works in about 80 or 90 different languages. And it's quite accurate. So question from Christy, when using Google Slides, is there a voice typing function? Yes and no. Yes, in Google Slides, there is a voice typing, but where it will add those is in the speaker notes. So if I go to Tools, Voice Type, it'll say Voice Type Speaker Notes. So it'll pop their text in the bottom here in these speaker notes in a Google Slides. Google Forms does not have a voice typing feature. However, if you have the read and write toolbar, and I'm just going to pop it open here, this talk and type feature should work in your Google form, such that it could access the microphone to then type in if you have the read and write toolbar. So we'll uncover that even to a greater depth in our literacy every day with Google Docs session. But so the voice typing is certainly one feature. Inserting pictures, I'm going to go down to number 3. Let me just close that read and write toolbar for a moment. I'm going to go Insert, Image, Search the Web. Now check it out. Right on the right side of your Google Doc, you don't have to leave to go to Google Images. Right from here, you can do an image search. And what's really nice about it is it will find you copyright-free images, because this is an education product. Okay, if you're using the Google for Education in your school division. So I'm going to select this cat and go Insert, and right now I've got this, might blow this cat picture up. Woo, there it is. So there's that picture, and if I click on it, I've got the little handles to resize or rotate how I wish to. But it's a really nice image search right in Google Docs. Now check this out. Insert image, I can additionally, in addition to searching from the web, I can upload it if I already have the picture saved or if it's in my Google Drive. But check this piece out. If you ever want to digitize any work, you want students to write something. Maybe it's a math problem. Maybe it's a paragraph. Okay? If you want them to digitize something, choose Insert Image from Camera. I'm going to turn off my own video for a second here in Zoom so I can show you how this works. Insert Image Camera. Then it will load up your own camera, and then if I have done some writing, I can hold it up. Oh, isn't that terrible writing? Or if I've drawn a picture, drawn a map, whatever it is, I just take a picture of it, I choose Insert, and now I bring it in here. So I might want a nicer version of that, a bigger version of that. I can resize it, and then I can write about it. So if it's a math problem I did, or if it's a diagram of some circuits in grade 5 that I've done, if it's an art project, it's a map, whatever it is, I can digitize that very easily into a Google Doc. And that works in Google Slides as well. Insert image, and then look for that camera. It's a really handy way of digitizing some of that work. I'm going to get rid of that chicken scratch. Another really handy feature to promote content literacy and deeper understanding and different ways of communicating than just text is by inserting a drawing. So I'm going to go insert drawing. I'm going to choose new. And this is basically like a paint program on steroids. So I can insert shapes of any kind. Let's say I want to put some green grass in here. I'll change the paint color fill to the grass. I'll do another shape for the sky. I can do, or let's say I'm doing the water cycle. I could do all sorts of stuff. You can have a lot of fun with this. You can also insert images into this drawing. There are all sorts of cool shapes. For example, here's a sun. I'll put in a little sun. You get the idea, right? So I can do whatever I want. I hit save and close, and boom, it's in here. So now it's in my Google Doc. And now if I am using Google Drawings, drawings.google.com, and I've saved some, and you'll see some examples a little bit later in this session, you can go insert drawing from Drive. So it's something, if you have a drawing file already in your Google Drive, you can insert it into your Google Doc. And that will let you sort of, maybe you want to attach some writing or a response of some sort with that. The question has come in, should students complete their assignments in Google Docs and then upload to Classroom? Well, let's imagine that this was a learning template I wanted students to do right here. What I might do is go into my Google Classroom, and I'm going to do this. Let's say I've already made a learning template. I'm going to go create assignment. I'll just call it writing. Terrible name. Now, where is that file? I'm going to add it, but from where? Well, it's in my Google Drive. And guess what? It will find the most recent files I've been working on. And guess what that is? There it is. There's the one I just was working with. So I want to add it in here. Do I want students to just view it? Nope. I want to make a copy for each student. So I hit that little down arrow, make a copy for each student. It also attaches the name of the student to that Google Doc and fires out a shared copy with all of them. Put your due date, put your topic, hit assign, and it'll be there for your students now. So it's really up to you. I'll show you later, A.L. Morrow, about another way students can submit work through Google Classroom. If you don't want to or don't have time to create these templates on your own, okay? They can attach it from scratch, okay? What they would do in a nutshell is what students, sorry about that. So in a nutshell, when students open that assignment, they're gonna go create. Or they could add from Google Drive if they had already created that document elsewhere. Or they could just create it on the fly and choose any one of these. It's gonna attach it to that assignment and do all the sharing for you. So nobody has to worry about that. So that's another option you have. A couple more features in Google Docs for literacy. Let's see, there's a few there, but one that is a real favorite of mine is the Explore tool. So if you're in a Google Doc right now that you can edit in that copy, go to the bottom right-hand corner of your doc. You see a little kind of a compassy shaped thing. And when you put your mouse on it, it says Explore. You can also find the Explore in the Tools menu. There it is. Now, when you open it up, it's kind of a nice little sidebar. It's very similar to that image search, but watch the kind of things we can do. In this example, we're doing some class research on the parts of a plant. I want to find websites about this, and I want to find pictures. And I've inserted a table to help organize that content literacy material. Already got that. So let's say I go up to this Explore tool, and I'm going to say plant stem. It'll give me three options: a web search, an image search, and stuff for my own Google Drive. So let's say I think this particular, right here, this one down here, the third one down, I've looked at it. I think it's a really great website. I can put it in as a teacher. Students can put it in. Watch a really easy way to put this in. Watch, everybody. So you just take your mouse right over top of that link over here, drag, click and drag it, let it go where you want it to go, and there it is. Now, did you notice when we hovered our mouse over these web search results that these little quotations showed up for each one? This is an automatic citation feature. Watch what happens. See where my cursor is? It's still right after that link there. I hover over, I click the cite as a footnote. Boom, it puts a little number 1. Did you see that? And check it out, the bottom of the page, voila, a little footnote that shows where that came from. Now, do we expect grade 3 students to fully understand the whole concept and formatting of citations? No, but can we teach them, even at a very young age, that not everything on the internet just belongs to you? And if you do find a source online, there's a way that you can give credit to where you found that. You can cite where you got that. This is a very easy way to do it. Look at the top of the web search results. By default, it's MLA, but I can change it to APA or Chicago if I really want to, if it makes a difference to you. So that is the an easy way. Once again, I just drag that in over into the table, let go, and then I use that little citing a footnote. Works just for the web search results. Now let's say I want to bring in images. Here's a good picture of a plant stem. I can again just drag and let go. And unlike a Word document, when I drag in a picture of any size, remember that cat picture that I brought in before? It was super huge. When you bring in a picture into a table in a Google Doc, it will resize that picture automatically to the width of your column. So it doesn't blow up the whole document. Hallelujah. So that is a handy way. So once again, what we did was we went into our table, we opened up that Explore tool, we did our search. So let's say plant roots. We found web search results that we could just drag across into our document. We saw that little citation feature there, which made a footnote. Look at that, it's even put a number 2 next to this one because it's the second one I did so far. And then with the images, I can just drag and drop once again. It wasn't going to fit on the rest of this page, so it just popped it down to the next. Maybe I should have tried to drag it into here. Anyways, so that is the Explore tool. It's a really handy way to organize some of that work. And that's just a couple examples how Google Docs, the literacy features can be supported in Google Docs. Before we leave Google Docs, just a quick note on some feedback that you can provide. If you've opened up some student work in a Google Doc, anytime you highlight anything, see this little guy right here, this comment button opens up. You can give comments to students on their work. So once again, anything you highlight, then this little comment button fires up and it allows you to say a reminder to whatever you want to say for your comments. You say comment, and then it's there for students when you return it to them. Now, once they open it up, they can reply. It can be a back and forth conversation. I'm seeing teachers use this in a very creative way. Let's say you have a comment bank for commonly misspelt or common feedback. Copying and pasting that, adding in links to videos to watch to, let's say they have used quotation marks poorly and you have a quick little website or a video they can watch to learn how to do it properly, adding that into those comments. So there's a lot of ways you can leverage those comments and the feedback. So that is literacy, a couple of features to bring literacy every day in Google Docs. And for those of you who'd like more information on that read and write toolbar that we looked at very briefly, the Edmonton Catholic Emerging Technology team created a really great website on the bit.ly/ECSD read and write. It's great for you, and it's a great one to share home with your families in case they want to learn how to use this tool to support their own literacy at home. Because if they're signing into the Chrome browser at home, and your district has the read and write toolbar, and I'd say probably 80 to 90% of school divisions in Alberta have it, at least that I've heard of. They can have that toolbar at home where they really need it. So that's great. All right, number 3, collaborative slides. Now, some people love collaborative slides, some people hate collaborative slides. But it is a way that instead of having a copy for each student, you can have a whole bunch of students working together. The bit link for this particular, are you talking about, which one are you talking about? Is that for the read and write? Yeah, sure. There we go. This is Dublin. Okay, so let's go back to the collaborative slides. Now I have a collaborative slides that I'd like to share with you. I'll give you the link in here if you'd like to try. Now, this is a general feature of slides. It doesn't have to be all the students working together on a single Google Slides. There are some good and some bad with that. So I've shared a link with you to these collaborative Google Slides. And if you click on that, that will bring you into this shared Google Slides. And in this particular activity, what we're going to do, at least I think it did. I'm only seeing one person here. Oh, there we go. We've got a couple more people joining here. So if you wish to join this collaborative slide, you're welcome to. And in this scenario, I've got some virtual math manipulatives here. And each group or each individual student could have their own copy of that slide and rearrange in a live lesson or in a lesson that I could share a link with them. Now, can they edit each other's slides? Can they delete each other's slides? Yes, they can. And so if you would prefer, instead of doing this as a collaborative slides, just give them their own copy to work at by themselves, totally fine. Seeing a lot more people joining now. And what you can do is just scroll down. I've probably got, I think I've got over 50 of these slides. Scroll down, find one. How do you know if somebody else is on your slide? Well, you'll see a little colorful icon. When you mouse over it, you'll see some icons. So you could just find your own slide that nobody else is on, and you can claim it as your own by putting your name in the bottom part of that slide. Just click a couple of times until you see that text box open up, and you can type your name in it. And then you can, in this particular problem, just kind of a fun problem, how much money have you spent in your classroom over the last 12 months? It's a rhetorical question. Just wanted to give any sort of a general sample for anybody who wanted to try this. And we've got some virtual hundreds, tens, and ones blocks here that you can drag and drop and then show the number you're modeling. So it's just one example of a way that when you have groups of students collaborating on a slide, or individual students each with their own slide, how they can give each other, they can share responses that all can see. And so all students are learning from one another as well. Now there's another cool feature in Google Slides as well that may help you as a teacher kind of see what's happening live in real time. And so notice we are in this default view called Film Strip View. If you haven't tried it before, try the grid view, because what it does is it gets all your slides and you can zoom in. All right, hey, there's June's slides. There's a couple more people working away. So I can zoom in and I can see people working live on their slide as they're working. So this is a handy way to do some of that live, or at least to see at a different view what all your students are doing, even if they're doing this activity at different times during the day. You can see all your slides, zoom in and out as you choose to. And so how we did that in Google Classroom was this. Now, if some of you are still in your Google slide and you want to play with the virtual manipulatives, that's super cool. But if you want to see how you get this type of activity going in your Google Classroom, here's how. I'm in my Google Classroom. I'm in the classwork section. I go create assignment. even if I don't want anything marked. In fact, I don't want this marked. This is just for practice. I'm going to go ungraded. All right, I'll call it Math Manipulatives. Poor title. Anyhow, moving on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that file. Where is it? In my Google Drive. And guess what? It's the most recent thing I've looked at, so it's going to show up in my recent. There's the math slides. I'm going to go add. Now I want to change it from students can view to the middle one. Students can edit. When you say students can edit, that means every student is editing one file. They're all on this Google Slides. I didn't create this particular template, Tanya, so I'm not entirely, somebody did was created these shapes in here and just duplicated them a whole bunch of times and stacked them on top of each other, okay? So that's how that happened. So I'm gonna go students can edit. Now look, if you really prefer to do this as make a copy for each student, they won't see each other's work, but then they won't mess each other's work up as well. It's totally up to you. But for our purposes, what we just did, students can edit. Now, people who've done this, some people love collaborative slides. Some people hate collaborative slides. So it's really up to you. But the point is twofold. Number one, you can share a file that everybody can work on together. And also that Google Slides are for way more than just presentations. And in a minute, we'll take a look at a whole bunch of ready-made free templates that the awesome people in Black Gold, also with some help from Trish Rofi in Edmonton Catholic, where they have created a whole bunch of these free, ready-to-use templates. So I'm going to leave that particular activity now. I'm going to close that slides. I know some of you are still working on that. If you want to keep trying that out, that's totally fine. Let's go back into slides and to number 4. So here's another possibility for your Google Classroom, and that is choice boards and Hyperdocs. So for example, you can create these documents that have multimedia in them. You can have links to websites, pictures, the different choices they have for a particular thing to maybe do some practice work, do some learning. There's some options here. And I put a link in here to each of these. In fact, for those who want to see a copy of the one on the left, the math one, I'll paste that link in the text chat. And for those who want to see the one on the right, this is a Hyperdoc that was created. And I'll show you where I found these. So here is the other link. They're both kind of smushed together in the text chat. So the top one is for the math, the bottom one is for the cellular respiration and photosynthesis. So where I found these is a wonderful website created by some awesome educators in the States called hyperdocs.co. Hyperdocs.co. And I will jump ahead right to the area called resources and samples. And let me just put a link directly to that in the chat. If you'd like to see that, hyperdocs.co/samples. They've got some math, some language arts, some science, etc. Lots of different kinds of these Hyperdocs. There are also, in addition to the actual samples, there are templates. So if you want to make your own, there are lots of different templates for these types of things that you can make your own copy of. And remember, anytime you've gone into a Google Doc or a slide, if you want to make your own copy, here I'm going to open this one up, to make your own copy of something, anything you see in Google will save you a lot of time. Oh no, the sound is breaking up. Is the sound breaking up for everybody? Okay. Sorry about that. Kaisa, looks like the sound is good on most people's ends here. So that is loading up. Anytime you find a Google Doc that you want to make your own copy of, file, make a copy. Google Slides, Google Drawings, Google Sheets, any of it, file, make a copy. In fact, most files saved in your Google Drive, you can use file, make a copy, even PDFs. And so it is a handy thing if you've seen another Google Doc or slides, a template somewhere, you want to make it your own, file, make a copy. So that is an example of those Hyperdocs and the templates where you can sort of create these multimedia things. People have inserted links in there. You can see lots of samples, kind of get under the hood and see what it looks like. In fact, Hyperdocs don't even have to be done in a document. And as you'll see here, this is an example of this concept done in slides. And what's really nice about Google Slides is that in addition to all the things you can add into a Google Doc, you can add things like video or audio. So if you want to add a YouTube video, or if you want to record your own video in Screencastify. Screencastify is coming up at 1 o'clock for beginners today. And I've got an advanced Google Classroom and Screencastify, a new session this week for those who were taking part last week. I want to say it's Wednesday, not sure. So you record your screen or whatever you want to record, your webcam, find a YouTube video, you can insert that. So it really adds up that sort of interactive multimedia, very easy to do in slides or documents. There are also digital choice boards, and I've copied this link here from another talented educator called Casey Bell, and she has a website called Shake Up Learning. And here's a link that I just pasted in the chat to her sort of digital choice boards, these tic-tac-toe choice menus. So you can, again, file, make a copy when you open her sample, and it also gives some instructions there on what to do. All right, we have about 18 minutes left, and we are clipping along pretty nicely. I know I'm not showing you exact how-tos for every one of these things, but I want you to just see more than anything kind of what's possible. And some of the how-tos are present in links here. Some of them I'll be doing other PD sessions throughout the week. For example, using Google Slides as a digital learning canvas tomorrow at 1. We're going to go into the whole Google Slides thing, and we'll learn how to do all sorts of cool things aside from just presentations. Spend a whole hour on it. Is there a way for students to upload a photo of their work? A photo of their work in Google Classroom? Yes, and if they have an iPad or a digital smartphone, having the Google Classroom app is a really handy way to do that, because they can just insert a file attachment and then they'll be able to access their camera. In fact, you can too as a teacher. And if you have an iPad or a phone, you can access your camera, you can turn on a picture or a live video. Boom, rip away with some instructions. Hello, boys and girls, this is how you do this. Nice to see you today. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you. Boom, it's in your Google Classroom assignment or material. It's posted right from the app. So that is a really handy way to do that. If you're on a Google Doc or a Google Slide, to digitize that work, go insert image from camera. And that will upload. I won't be able to use my camera right now because I'm using it in Zoom, but I would just be able to hold my picture, my writing, my math, whatever I've written down, and hold it up to the camera and take a picture and bring it in. It's not the perfect scan, but it is certainly an easy way to do that in a Google Doc or a slide. Then I can write about it. Where will you be able to access these slides after? Well, if you're on these slides now, are you on the slides right now, Rochelle? Because next time you visit slides.google.com, you'll just see the slides there. So that's a handy thing. It will show you things you've looked at recently, owned by anyone else. And if you want to make your own copy, file, make a copy. Go for it. All right, let's move on, everybody, to the very next one. Self-graded quizzes and formative assessments. This one was, last time I did this session on going further with Google Classroom, there was such interest in doing these self-graded quizzes in Google Forms that I did a whole session on it last Friday, and I'll do another session on that as well this week. I don't remember what day of the week it is. Let's take a look. It's either Thursday or Friday. Let's see. Thursday morning, using getting started with Google Forms quizzes for formative assessment or summative assessment. So let's see how to do that. Here's a sample in here of a quiz. And if you want to see what a quiz can look like, let me just give you a link. It says take the quiz first. So I'm going to copy this link. If you'd like to, really hope that I'm not following me on Zoom. Okay, if you have the text chat open, you can click on that link. That will hopefully make that work. Let me just double check this is going to work. Oh, that's good. There we go. Okay, so yes, it will work. That link will work. And if you want to try this quiz out, this is an example of a quiz. You can see I've changed the header graphic. It's very, very easy to do. I just want to show you what's possible in here, and then we'll kind of get under the hood a little bit. Just a very quick how-to get started, and then you can tune in later this week for the full session. So I can put things in here like pictures as my answer choices if I wish to. I can put pictures in the questions. I can insert YouTube videos into these quizzes. So watch this video and answer these X number of questions. There are all sorts of other kinds of questions, and some of them can be auto-graded. Now, if you're on my slides right now, on slide 23, see where it says click on the copy? On the right side, you can make your own copy of this. So you can look under the hood if you want to, okay? So I'll show you how I did that. I'm gonna just hit edit this form, and I'll just give you a very quick, what did I do in Google Forms to get this far? All right, the first thing I did in this Google Forms was I went up to the settings gear, and if you want to play around with this, it's pretty easy to get started. Go up to the settings gear. There are 3 tabs along the top. Go to the one that says quizzes, and you're going to turn it on and make it a quiz. All right, when you do that, now in your questions, when you have a question, you will now have a thing called an answer key. So as you add your different question options, you'll need to go into your answer key and select which one is correct and what's the point value. So the question is, in Google Classroom on your quiz, does it automatically put each child's name, or do you need a name question? Great question, June. I would suggest on your Google form, you add in a question and just call it name. Make it a short answer one, and just don't go into the answer key. Don't make it worth any marks, obviously, unless you want to. Because what happens in Google Forms, when I look at the responses in a Google form, it's going to show responses by email. Let's see. Here are the email addresses of people. Now, if my students don't have an identifiable email address, for example, in Edmonton Catholic, where I see some of my former colleagues here, hello, the student email addresses are a 7-digit number at blank, blank, blank in our school division. So it's like, I don't know which student did that. So doing a question called name at the very top is a good way to start. You just don't really put anything on an answer key. So if I want to make a brand new question, I could say, what is 3 times 5? I could make it a multiple choice question, and I could say 10, just hit enter. We'll give you more choices, 20, 25. Go into the answer key. Which one is it? It's this one. Do I want any points associated? Maybe so, 1 point, done. And that's really all there is to it. So once I have that quiz, I go back into my Google Classroom. Here's what I'm going to do to send this quiz to the students. Create assignment. I know what you're looking at. You're looking at this where it says create a quiz assignment. If you create the quiz beforehand in Google Forms, don't use quiz assignment. I'll show you why. So I'm going to create assignment. Where is this file? It's in my Google Drive, right? So I'm going to add it from Google Drive. And it's going to bring me up the most recent thing I worked with. Yay. There it is. All I have to do is add it. That's it. Hit assign, or I could schedule it. Remember, you can schedule it. You want them to do it on Friday. No, not before. That's all I do. And as soon as what students will see when they open this particular quiz is they will just see the link to the quiz. They open it up, and as soon as they fill in the answers that they think, and when they hit submit, it automatically does the turn in button on your Google Classroom. So you'll see who's done and not. You can go into that Google Classroom and you can see which students have finished it or not, just by going into this who's turned it in. It'll show you who's done. But do put on your Google form a name question as your first thing, so that it just makes it that much easier to identify the students. Now, after the fact, you're going to want to see the results as a teacher. So you're just going to go into your Google Forms, right, which is forms.google.com. Or if you like using this little app launcher at the top of your Google pages and find forms in there, you can do that too. But you're going to go into your Google Forms here. You're going to open this up here. And you're going to go into this is the editing mode. You're going to be able to see all of the student responses. I can see a summary. Okay, 60% of the students got the first question right. Not bad. Maybe I should do a little reteaching with my class. So you can see that whole class view, or you can go question by question. And it'll say, well, which students answered this particular, let's go down to this question. All right, 3 responses got it right. 1 response, these 2 kids, I'm going to go into here and see who answered that wrong. And I'm going to do a little mini lesson just with those 2 or 3 students. And then that way I can do some reteaching. It'll give me just an idea. And to learn more about Google Forms and how to get it rolling, what do you do if not everyone turns in a quiz? Well, I would send that student a little reminder saying, hey, please do your quiz. Maybe let's see if I can do that. Can I message one individual student in here? Yeah, I can. I can go right to this stream, but instead of all students, I'm just going to pick that one student, say, don't forget to turn in your quiz. Boom, they'll get the little message on their stream, and probably an email as well. So again, I'll be doing a more in-depth session on forms later this week. We've got only about 7 minutes left, so let's take a quick look here at a couple more things. The polls and questions feature are really underutilized in Google Classroom, and it's something I'd really encourage you to try. In the classwork section, we're going to try out a question, because you have 2 options when you do it as a question. Option 1 is you can sort of get a short answer. And what that can do is either, if you allow students to see each other's responses, that's this little blue check mark here. Do you see it? Right in here as I'm creating the question. If I let them do that, they can see each other's responses and reply. We can have a little threaded discussion going automatically right in Google Classroom. Andy, what if I don't want them to see it? What if I'm just doing sort of a check for understanding, a little exit ticket, if you will, and I don't want students to see each other's responses? Well, I just uncheck that. Short answer. Good. Now, another choice is multiple choice. If I want to let all the class see the summary, we can do a poll or opinion survey on a particular thing. What do you like, or which statement do you agree with most? A, B, C, or D? And then they can see kind of a live graph of each other's responses. Be a start of a discussion, perhaps. So if you also want to use this one as sort of your exit ticket, do you remember this? What is the part of the plant that carries the food to the leaves, from the roots all the way up to the trees, or the leaves rather, and flowers? So you could do your multiple choice question. Just don't show students the class summary, and now it's a check for understanding of a multiple choice question. Let's see how many students got it right, how many wrong. Do I need to reteach? Who do I need to reteach with? So if you don't want to do a full-blown quiz in Google Forms, take advantage of the question feature in Google Classroom. I would not recommend allowing students to comment and post, but that is just me, particularly in the stream, at least not to start with. Once you've got going and you feel comfortable, you can sort of, change those superpowers that the students have. And if you go into the settings gear of your Google Classroom, you can change that from only teachers can post and comment. Maybe you want to change it just a little bit. When the teacher posts something, then they can comment, but they can't post on their own. That is a good question, A.L. Morrow. If you disable that piece, can they respond on the question? I think so. I think they can, because that is not a regular post comment. That is a question assignment. So I think they still can. So that might be a little bit more controlled environment. If I'm wrong on that, I do apologize, but I think that is true that they can. Even if you turn off their ability to post and comment in the stream, they can still give a typed answer in the classwork section on a question. All right, I'm going to skip this feedback one for now and go into something interactive templates and manipulatives. People, if you haven't seen this before, your life is about to change. I'm going to go to the Engaging Students Black Gold website. Thank you, Darren Maltese and the team at Black Gold, the teachers and everybody who's contributed these resources, as well as my pal Trish Rofi from Edmonton Catholic. They have so many resources and templates here that you can use. Edmonton Catholic, there may be some other places that also have these sample resources, but let me just open this up and give you an example. This is general resources, so you can even go into grade-specific ones. But there are some incredible templates in here that you can use with students. Things for math, virtual manipulatives we saw, plus more. There's graphic organizers of all types. Here's a magazine cover in Google Drawings that they can change and make their own. Here's a book cover. So there's lots of different organizers that you can try out. And at any point in time, you want to make your own copy of something. Here I'm loading up this one. It was done in Google Slides. Compare and contrast map. I'm going to do a whole 1 hour session on how to make your own and how to find these other ones and use them. File, make a copy of the entire presentation. So students can fill in this little organizer very easily. And as a teacher, in my Google Classroom, all I need to do is go into my classwork now, and I can create an assignment. Now, when I've made that copy of that compare and contrast map or any one of these other templates, where are they? It's in my Google Drive. So I'm going to go give it a title. I'm going to add it from Google Drive. And no surprise, the most recent thing that I found will show up. There it is. Do I want them to just view it? Nope. I want them to make a copy for each student. It'll put their name on it. Isn't that nice? And then whenever I post it, now each student has a copy of that and they can fill in that organizer for the activity I want to do. So that's a really handy thing. I've got links to the Edmonton Catholic here. I've got here's the social media templates that the MTech team in Edmonton Catholic created. Little templates for some magazines, for some pretend templates for Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. You don't want them using Instagram in class, but what if you found a Google Slides or Drawings one that they could fill in and send back, just as sort of an interesting response activity. Super fun. So go into here, file, make a copy, and now it's yours. Yeah, totally, I agree with you, Anna. It is definitely a game changer. So let's see what we've got here. Now, the other thing I want you to say is you may not have time to either find or create all these templates all the time. Another piece I want you to remember is that you can just create an assignment with just instructions. Don't attach anything. Then what the student does is when they open up a particular assignment that you've created for them, your instructions would be here on the screen. Let them use the add button to save something, upload something from their device. Or if they use the create button in an assignment that you've given them, let's say you haven't attached any templates at all, they can click create and create a document, a slide, a sheet, a drawing, or a form, and it will automatically create it with the name of that assignment, with their name as well, and it will attach it to the assignment. Automatically, it'll attach it and share it with you. So this is a handy one. Can I share the Edmonton Catholic shared templates? Yes, indeed. Putting it in that text chat right now. So have students add and create on their own. You may need to teach them how to do this. There are lots of other web-based tools. We're kind of out of time at this point. You can check that out. Very easy to add links to other web-based tools. I'll be doing a session on one of my favorites on Thursday, quizzes.com. It's a great practice, web-based practice tool. It's like Kahoot, only a whole lot better, because you can do more than just the live games. There's lots of great practice and homework games and lots of great features. I'm gonna do a whole hour session on that one on Thursday. Anyways, everyone, it's 12:01. I've got you a minute overtime here. Sorry about that. You've got a link to these digital slides for ones that I haven't come to. As I said, I'm going to be doing longer sessions for each of these, not each of them, but for several of them. And if you have that link to the different sessions, you can see when they are. I'm also putting the links to the Zoom sessions. And what you'll also notice is after I've recorded a session, like this one, I'm also putting the webinar links in there. So very soon, as soon as we say goodbye, I'm going to export this particular session and I'll upload it to my ATA OneDrive. Servers are in Canada, all good. And I'll post the webinar recording link in there. Also, it'll be on our Facebook ATA PD page. Thank you, everyone. I know it's been a bit of a whirlwind hour and 2 minutes. So thank you very much. If you want to come back to any other sessions, we'll kind of slow it down a bit. You know, the question, if you want to stick around and ask some more questions, I'll definitely stay here longer if you want. Otherwise, thank you so much. All the very best of luck. I know you're doing awesome work. I know we at the association are really thankful for your hard work and your perseverance in doing this great work for your students. Just be patient with yourself. You know, making a connection with your students is number one, and the learning stuff will come. We're here to help where we can. There are a lot of other organizations out there who are also doing their best to help. Teachers are sharing with each other. So I will stop the recording now, and then I'll answer any other questions that some of you might have.